we go into now topic number one of the conversation here on this show. And I remembered I had a question on social media, and the question was just wanting to get more from you, the fans, on what do you guys want to discuss, talk about, have a dialogue here on the show. And if I've said this once, I've said this multiple times, you as the fan, you drive the content, right? You make Alabama football popular. You make it exciting. If you guys aren't talking about it, then there is no reason to discuss the Crimson Tide, because if you don't have anybody talking about you, then are you really relevant to be in a conversation? So I asked the question about, what do you as the fans, what makes you excited about this year's football team? And one of the responses I got back was, well, Steven, what is the specific difference between the program that David Ballou and Dr. Matt Ray are doing versus what Scott Cochran's done? What's the specific difference between the programs? Because, what Scott Cochran did, it brought Alabama 5 national championships. What Scott Cochran did, it brought Alabama 6 conference titles. Cochran brought Alabama a number of different, number one top-ranked recruiting classes. Cochran was also very instrumental in putting players in the NFL. So how much different, or what are these specific differences between Ballou and Dr. Ray's program versus Scott Cochran? And I got to thinking about the question, because as much as we, don't want to undermine or undervalue what Cochran did, because he did a great job. He did a tremendous job. He did a fantastic job. And it's going to feel different, week 3. It already kind of feels different, but it's going to feel different Week 3 of the college football season when, Alabama faces Georgia in Bryant-Denny, and you look over at the other sideline, and it's Scott Cochran over there with Kirby Smart, and you as a Tide fan are like, man, this is weird. I mean, he was at Alabama for 13 years, and now he's over there at Georgia. But even though you don't want to undermine or undervalue what he did, there are two huge differences between what Cochran did and what the new regime of Ballou and Ray are doing. The two biggest differences, are, number one, Ballou and Ray are not afraid of change. And number two, Ballou and Ray will have more of that trust factor in terms of the players for a more longer period of time and what their workouts and their exercises and their drills entail. So let me attack the second part of this question for just a moment here. So Scott Cochran, his whole workout process was one size fits all, right? You had the one size fits all cap, you had the one size fits all shirt, and not everybody's going to fit that same size, but in Cochran's mind, it was, if you're lifting this way, that person's going to be lifting this way. This person's going to be, lifting this, squatting this, bench pressing this. Everybody's doing the same thing. Cochran's thing was more so mental. It was lift for the pain. Push past the pain. We gonna lift, we gonna lift, we gonna push, we gonna push, we gonna stretch, we gonna stretch. It's all mental. It's all mental. Push past the pain. Push past it. That was Scott Cochran. Everybody had to lift, to the utmost max of weight. Everybody had to squat to the utmost max of weight. Everybody had to run to the utmost running you had to do. Everybody did the same thing, right? So when you're pushing, lifting, stretching, and there's no cool down time, there's no relax time, there's no ability to, or no chance to really recuperate that body, because in your mind, you're being told to push, stretch, lift. It's all mental, then, and you're not getting that chance to really recuperate and cool down your body. You are stretching ligaments, you are stretching tendons, you are stretching joints, bones until they pop or you stretch them so thin to where you get out on the practice field or you get out in a game and one false move, there's an injury, and then going, and then based on how much you have hurt yourself in that injury, would deem, how quickly can you come back? How fast can you come back? What would be your recovery time? So, case in point here, Terrell Lewis. Terrell Lewis fits this, perfectly, because Terrell Lewis 2016, played a good bit as a freshman. 2017, at the very next year, he hurts his elbow, misses the majority of that season. Probably the only big play he had that year was against Georgia in a national championship game against the Big Sack. But people were pumping him up for the 2018 season. People were pumping him up thinking he's going to be back, he's going to be a beast, and he gets back with the program of Scott Cochran, the push, the lift, the stretch, putting all of his force, all of his tension, all of his torque on his body, and he gets hurt again, tears his ACL in the summer of 2018, doesn't even play that entire season. So 2019, as he's fully back to peak power, to peak health, there's a fear in the back of his mind that goes, as much as I enjoy Coach Cochran, as much as I love Coach Cochran, as much as I respect Coach Cochran, I've been hurt twice. So do I really want to push even more and risk having another injury, or do I sit here and just pick and choose my moments where I want to go off? Do I just pick and choose my moments where I want to be a beast? And part two was the method that Terrell Lewis took. He didn't go all the way out. He sort of pick and chose his moments, and he did that because that fear of not really trusting. He loved Coach Cochran, but not really trusting what Coach Cochran was doing. You could even kind of say the same thing for a guy like, Matt Womack, of whom he came in, 340 pounds. Cochran was with him at first, getting him down to 297 pounds, and he played his whole, 2017 season at right tackle. But when Scott Cochran, got his big money in the spring of 2018, he kind of took a step back from his baby, that being the whole strength and conditioning program, and that's where you saw the injuries come in, and that's where you saw the complacency step in, and a lot of things step in terms of things that Nick Saban did not like going on, with the program where, Coach Cochran was concerned. Coach Cochran's scheme, it fits in two areas. It fits for if you are an upstart program, right? If you're an upstart program, no one really knows about you, or if you're a program that's fallen from the pinnacle, right? You were a program that was used to winning championships. You hit this dry spell where you're not winning, where you're not being successful. So Cochran's mindset would fit both of those aspects, because it would build that mentality of, we got to get to the top or we got to get back to the top. But once you reach the top, the question becomes, how do you stay there? What methods do you take to remain on top? Like, what do you do? How do you tweak some things, adjust some things, alter some things, fix some things? How do you make sure that your foot continues on the neck of everybody else in college football? How do you make sure that nobody's sneaking up on you? You're still the best of the best. You're still bringing in the best of recruits. You are still the powerhouse program, the pristine program, right? Kind of like that documentary that Coach Saban had with Bill Belichick. Once you get to the top of the mountain, you become the mountain. And this is where the journey actually really starts. Like, how do I keep myself fresh? How do I keep myself on top? How do I keep myself at the forefront? And that's kind of where, Scott Cochran had his issues at, because in his mind, it's, my program has been so effective. We've won 5 championships, 5 titles, 6 SECs. Why change? Why go somewhere different? I mean, you even had, Jeff Allen, the athletic trainer, trying to show Scott Cochran some things, and, Jeff Allen's on the cutting edge of everything in technology, and Cochran's just pushing Allen away. We don't need that. I don't need that. Bump that. Forget that. What we've done here, what I've done here, this is where the championships have been won. This is where, we've been great at. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. The great ones in everything they change, they tweak things, they alter, they find ways to stay on top of the game. And when you look at Ballou and Rhea, the program here is different. Players are still lifting, players are still running, players are still squatting, but the difference is they're not overly extenuating their bodies. They're not putting so much on themselves, but most importantly, what they're doing is the exercises that are being done are, if this translates into you being a beast on the field, a monster on the field, an animal on the field, then we're going to do this exercise. Yes, you can squat 600 pounds, but if that 600 pounds does not translate into you being faster off the line of scrimmage, being more explosive off the snap of the ball, being more so the aggressor, more so the enforcer, if this squatting 600 pounds does not translate into you sustaining the whole game for 4 quarters, we're not doing it. We're going to do things that make sure you sustain a full 4 quarters. We're going to do things that make sure that Alabama is the aggressor every single time we step on the field. Every snap, every rep, every practice, we're doing things to ensure Bama is the aggressor. There were moments in the latter years of Scott Cochran where he pulled back, he pulled off, and you could see the physicality that made Alabama great. It had slipped from that. These guys are putting the physicality back into place, but the physicality was also the injury prevention. We're going to go to our first break here on the show, ladies and gentlemen. Don't touch that dial. Just getting you started here on a Monday. Upon our return, we're going to unpack your questions, your thoughts, your tweets, your texts, your chats, your viewpoints, your concerns. Bring them in right after this.
Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care. In support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $5.95 per month or pay $49.95 for a full year subscription. That's a saving of almost $22. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
Thank you for watching Touchdown Alabama Magazine's YouTube channel. To continue to get the best in Alabama football content, subscribe here and turn on your notifications to stay connected with the hottest shows covering your Crimson Tide.